Tonight on Texas News Channel, Austin water is safe to drink again.
UT students react to a synagogue shooting.
And international students celebrate their first Longhorn Halloween.
You're watching Texas News Channel,
your leader for live, local UT coverage.
Good evening. Welcome back to Texas News Channel for Monday, October 29th. I'm Mercedes Gonzales.
And I'm Marco Ramirez. Thank you for joining us tonight. Well, this week was definitely a crazy week for us here on the 40 Acres. Well, first, the semester's more than halfway done, and we finally have our water back.
Yeah, it's so great to be able to refill my water bottle on campus instead of like buying a new one every time I forgot one at home. Well, Longhorns, it looks like we can finally enjoy a nice glass of tap water again. The city of Austin has finally lifted its citywide boil water notice, but don't go running all of your faucets at once just yet. The city still asks that you limit your water use, and residents should throw out the water and ice in their refrigerators. For more information on what your next steps are, visit austintexas.gov/boilh2o.
Well, I don't know about you, but I felt this week was definitely one to remember. I heard all sorts of stories like people brushing their teeth with LaCroix and even Tito's vodka. Those were just a few ways people got creative with this restriction. To hear more, Texas News Channel asked UT students what they did and how they feel now that it's finally over.
It was definitely an inconvenience. I didn't actually know about the water boil situation until like after I brushed my teeth, and I learned like you weren't supposed to do that. So I was like, oh God, am I about to die?
It was just truly living off of bottled water and then just kind of figuring out friends who do have access to boiled water.
I'm so happy, but I'm still kind of being cautious about it because it's just only been a day. So I'm thinking that it could be, you know, still a little iffy.
Well, Wednesday's Halloween, and Marco, I have a Halloween costume idea for you. I think you should be Indiana Jones.
Well, that sounds like a really cool idea. He's such a great character, and what's even cooler is that UT has its very own Indiana Jones here on campus. Art history professor David Stewart is working to decipher the meaning behind a 1,500-year-old Mayan artifact discovered last summer. The artifact is a limestone altar standing 15 feet tall and features a distinct hieroglyphics, the altar's historical significance and the meaning of its symbols. If you're in Guatemala City anytime soon, the altar is on display at the National Museum of Archaeology and Anthropology.
Wow, that is so awesome. We have some pretty cool faculty at our school. Longhorn parents who didn't know what UT has to offer their students definitely found out at Family Weekend. At this event, UT families learn about resources available to their students, took pictures of Vivo, and caught up on the latest 40 Acres news at a family lunch. Texas News Channel was on the scene for an inside look at this special event.
It just serves as a chance to reunite, I guess, the family. You know, after me leaving home, it makes a big difference to just be able to still be a family.
I think it's a great opportunity for me to see my daughter's classrooms, and areas that she can spend studying and hanging out with friends. I like knowing where she is and what it's like.
11 people were killed in a shooting at a Pittsburgh synagogue this past weekend. The shooting impacted people nationwide, and now some students in the Jewish community at UT are concerned about their safety.
Seeing and knowing that everyday activities like going to synagogue or going to school or walking down the street means that I could be identified and attacked just because of my religion is something really scary to wrap my head around.
Just been something that brought us closer together, I think.
I think what's really important is that we come together as a Jewish community in terms of, just more Jewish presence on campus in terms of going to Shabbat, and just being there for one another. Even if you're not a Jewish student, being an ally to Jewish students is very important at this time.
The humanitarian crisis happening in Venezuela is affecting some of our fellow Longhorns. Our reporter Gabby Wong spoke to one student about her struggles.
The Venezuela crisis has been ongoing since 2010 because of inflation. But in the beginning of this year, the crisis has become even worse as hyperinflation hits the country. This crisis is also impacting some students in UT. While the number of Venezuelans remain low in the international demographic, some undergraduate students are struggling to pay their tuition in UT. Most of these students do not receive any financial help from UT. While there are many scholarships offered from the university, only a small number of scholarships are available for international students.
So it gets to a point where a lot of people having like, do I finish my education? Also, it might take me to bankruptcy, or do I just go back home to a country that's fallen?
When many students receive care packages from their home, these students have to be the ones who send items to their families.
So I started doing that not only for my family, but also like helping friends when they have to send it to their families.
Gabrielle Wong, Texas News Channel.
Well, that was a very interesting story, and I hope everything works out for her.
Oh, I hope so too.
Well, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more news. Coming up on Texas News Channel.
Even more scooters on campus.
And get the latest midterm election update.
Stay tuned. This Wednesday, we celebrated spookiest day of the year with well-known Halloween traditions like carving pumpkins and trick-or-treating. But for many international students, this Halloween may be their first. To find out more about the differences in how countries celebrate this spooky holiday, Texas News Channel spoke with a few international students for their eyewitness accounts.
Everyone who lives locally try to actively participate in the whole costume changing activity, and everyone seems so active, because back in my country, even if it's a local festival or holiday, people just think of it as a holiday to get exempt to not go to school or not go to work.
I love Halloween, dressing up in costumes. I saw a lot of people dressing up in costumes this Halloween weekend. Some people say not every costume is a good one. Texas News Watch talked to students for their opinions on where costumes cross the line from wicked to just plain wrong.
I think that you can dress up as other stuff if you're respecting it, but if you're going around in a way that's just respecting it or making fun of it, that's when I don't think it's right.
Putting more into your kimono Chinese outfit, or even just calling someone Chinese when you don't really know what they are, you know? So it's just knowing what you're doing and realizing that you're appropriating rather than appreciating.
When they have a history for that, and then for other people to just misappropriate it would be something that's very insensitive for them.
I'm a big fan of spooky costumes, but Marco, you know what some may think is scarier than Monster Max? Scooters. If you're tired of scooters clogging the streets, it looks like you're fresh out of luck. Uber announced they will be adding their own jump scooters to the mix. Like Lyman Bird, riders can access Uber scooters through the Uber Ride app.
Study by media advocacy group GLAAD shows recurring LGBTQ characters have increased significantly on broadcast cable and streaming services this year. LGBTQ characters make up almost 9% of recurring characters in TV series. GLAAD urges the television industry to reach the goal of at least 10% of all sectors in the next 2 years. Well, early voting is still in full swing, here on campus, and a lot of students are going out to vote for the upcoming midterm. So have you voted yet?
Yeah, I voted on the first day when polls opened. I was there bright and early before my 10 a.m. class. Well, that reminds me now for this week's election update. Texas voters, be careful. Some ballots are switching. Texas election advisor Keith Ingram says people reported problems of voting machines switching their votes. The problem occurs when voting on the straight ticket ballot. He says people accidentally change their vote when they try to use the keyboard before the next page is fully loaded. He advises people to wait carefully when voting straight ticket. Next Tuesday marks the final day for Americans to vote. Texas News Channel will have a special show that night. We'll be live from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. covering the races that matter most to UT students. Be sure to tune in to catch in-depth analysis from Tower Talks hosts and UT professors. Follow at Texas News TSTV on Twitter as we dive deeper into each of these races.
So Marco, on Wednesday, I heard it's supposed to be a dark and stormy night for Halloween.
I've heard the same thing. So are we gonna see an end of the sunny weather we've been seeing? So let's go over to Caitlin at the Weather Center. Caitlin?
Thanks, Mercedes. What kind of weather will we welcome November with? I'll let you know after the break. Welcome back, friends. I hope you enjoyed the nice weather over Halloween weekend because the holiday is looking pretty gloomy. Today was nice and sunny with temperatures in the 80s. But it looks like it will cool down as the week progresses. Tuesday will be partly sunny with a high of 83 degrees and a low around 70. The sun won't last though. The weather will be fitting for the spookiest day of the year. On Halloween, we'll see strong to severe thunderstorms and wind gusts as high as 20 miles per hour. Luckily, we welcome November on Thursday with sunny skies and highs in the mid-60s. I'm excited for great weather during Halloween weekend round 2 and the football game. Friday and Saturday will follow suit with highs in the mid-70s and clear, sunny skies. And rounding out the forecast, we'll see sunny skies on Sunday. Another round of storms might put a damper on your Halloween night plans, but at least we can get ready for another sunny weekend of costumes, pumpkin patches, and Longhorn football. Live from the Winter Center, Caitlin Davis, Texas News Channel.
Thanks, Caitlin. We'll be right back with sports. Welcome back to Texas News Channel. We're joined by Clark Dalton from TSTV Sports, here to update us on the latest in Longhorn athletics. Welcome, Clark.
Thanks, Mercedes. It was a heartbreaker for the Horns this weekend as their 6-game win streak was snapped in Stillwater, Oklahoma. On the first play here, Taylor Cornelius finds Tylan Wallace across the middle, and he takes it to the end zone to put Oklahoma State up 7-0 at homecoming. There was concern about Sam Ellinger and his shoulder, but he looks fine on display as he gets to the end zone for a 5-yard touchdown. Later on a 4th and 1 that proved to be critical, Taylor Cornelius finds Giuliani Woods for a 14-7 lead for Oklahoma State. On another 4th and 1 play, Cornelius goes deep as Chris Boyd tries to catch the interception, and Wallace mosses him for another touchdown. The Horns are down 31-14, but Ellinger wouldn't let that happen as he scrambles right and throws it to Keontae Ingram, who has the over-the-shoulder catch for a touchdown, putting the Horns back in the game at 21-31. However, Cornelius will prove to be clutch again as he gets into the end zone, putting Oklahoma State up 38-28. The Horns try one more time with Trey Watson, who gets a 1-yard touchdown. However, it's a little too late. On 4th and 1, it gets a little feisty here between Brecken Hager and Robert Woods, and it even gets a little tense between the coaches as Mike Gundy and Tom Herman both come out on the field. As you can see, the officials are trying to fight Herman back there. Texas loses 38-35.
No, thanks, Clark. Let's head over to Faith to see what's new in Hollywood. Faith?
Thanks, Mercedes. Coming up next, we'll cover Matthew McConaughey's message to Texan voters, Simone Biles' medical scare, and Bob Saget After Dark. We'll be right back with your entertainment news. Welcome back to Texas News Channel. Not even kidney stones can stop a gold medalist like Simone Biles. Only 24 hours before the qualifying rounds for the 2018 World Artistic Gymnastics Championship, Biles was admitted into the hospital for a kidney stone. Biles chose to compete the next day without removing the stone. She tweeted a selfie from her hospital bed and said, "Nothing like a late-night ER visit less than 24 hours before the World Championships. This kidney stone can wait. Doing it for my team. I'll be Gucci, girls." Biles competed and had the highest individual score at the competition, helping to lead the U.S. team to the team finals. A classic ABC show is getting an adult spin-off. Bob Saget is returning to host a grown-up version of America's Funniest Home Videos. They're calling it Videos After Dark and say it will be a little bit harder with saltier language. Our viral video of the week will make you feel all right, all right, all right. Actor and UT grad Matthew McConaughey tweeted a video of himself waiting in line to early vote. Look at this.
In Texas, in line, early voting. Get out there, cast yours, just keep living.
If Matthew McConaughey's early voting, I'll be there. That's it for me. Live from the Entertainment Center, I'm Faith Osterberg.
Thanks, Faith, and thank you for tuning in. If you have a news tip, email us at news@texasstudenttv.com.
Be sure to follow us for news updates throughout the week. You can follow us on Twitter at Texas News TSTV and like our Facebook page. I'm Ramirez.
And I'm Mercedes Gonzales. Have a great week.